Hi, Patricia. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Fine.
Okay.
We are ready.
Okay. Oh, only two. Tracy already joined. Have joined.
Tracy, how nice to see you.
Patricia.
How are you? I'm so happy that you are here.
And how are
Welcome.
you? Thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness, it is wonderful to see you.
Here you're going to find lots of people interested in your great program.
Well, we hope
I
so.
told Madmas about it, so she got interested immediately.
She is a training facilitator right now, Memtes.
Yes, I know. She told me. Yes, she's a friend of mine. Yes, I'm very happy about that.
Yes, I am too. I am too. She just needs to have a little confidence in herself.
Of course.
Tracy,
Yes.
she is Laila Jacob from Indian teacher. Laila, she is Tracy Hanson. I told you before time. I already told you about Tracy.
Hi, Laila.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Namaste, Laila. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Where in India do you live?
I live in Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow. Lucknow.
Lucknow is
Yes.
Okay. I lived in Kerala for.
Oh, I am from.
Is that near Kerala?
I am from basically from Kerala.
Oh. Yeah, I lived there. I lived there on and off for about 2-3 years. I worked with Talkage and Dr. Joseph at Talkage.
Yeah,
yeah. What a wonderful man he is. Oh my.
Nice.
What an educator. Yes.
Thank you.
So this is exciting. I'm glad to see somebody from India as well.
Yes.
How is it there in Argentina for you right now? Are things getting better? Sort of the same?
No, worse. We are worse than ever before. Yeah. Much worse. Besides, the instructions given by the government are not good. They have stolen vaccines. Now we are unprotected.
Oh my.
So we are having serious problems with that. And lots of vaccines have arrived, but people are not vaccinated with the speed that is required. Most of the population, by a fraction of the population, have got the first shot, but not the second. So a lot of people are getting infected, and a lot of people are dying at the moment. It's terrible what we are living at the moment.
And you know, in the United States, there are so many who refuse to take the vaccine.
I know about that.
Because there's too many questions about the vaccine, whether or not it really does work or doesn't work. There have been a number of deaths from people who have received the vaccine. And so right now, what the CDC is trying to do is to entice people to be vaccinated by having a sweepstake so that you can enter into a sweepstake if you get vaccinated. And I can tell you that has caused even more anger.
Because they are creating more problems to those people who have already vaccinated, because this is a sort of helping each other.
Yeah, but you see, there are two fractions in the United States. One that is taking the vaccine, and another which feels it's their right, it's confidentiality. It is confidentiality because it's medical, and that they should have the choice. And there isn't enough documentation or proof that they're any safer with the vaccination than without. So I'm in a household that refuses to take the vaccination. They won't. If it means the kids don't go to school, they won't go to the school. However, I am vaccinated. Okay, because A, I'm an older lady, and B, I want to travel again. I want to be
Of
able to
course.
get back out, you know, and travel again. Georgia has invited me to Greece. I want to get back into India. My friends in Nepal are wondering, but I can't go anywhere until things obviously clear up.
Of
So,
course.
and
Yes.
everywhere, and you're right, everywhere it's getting worse.
Yes.
And I'm really concerned for the people of the world, because there's so many that I worked with who are homeless now, who have no way to survive and no way to make any kind of money. I don't know what they're doing.
See, the economic problems that they have caused is terrible here in Argentina.
Oh,
It's
everywhere.
terrible, really. Well, half of the population is poor already. Half of the population has become poor.
yeah. And
Because
you know, I just you know, when COVID hit, I thought maybe people will realize it didn't hit one country. It didn't hit one type of people. It hit everyone.
yeah, of course, all
And
the world.
and shouldn't that make people realize how much more like we are and unite us together to solve the problem and come up with solutions? And in the United States, it has divided us, people against people.
It's
You know,
terrible.
it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yes, instead of getting united, we are separated. The same happens here.
Oh,
There is a big gap because between those who favors the government and all their regulations and the opposite side, the party against them, who of course are trying to think differently, but they are being rather passive. I'm against, of course, against this government because they have impoverished the country greatly, and it is really a problem because we are very rich. It is a country that is very rich, and because all the money they have stolen, this has deprived the country of growing. You know, the Kirchner's group,
yeah.
they are full of corruption. It's terrible, really. And only a small fraction of the population is working, middle class. You know, that we pay taxes and they want to get their votes. So they give to poor people money. So I give you money, but you will vote me, okay? Otherwise, you won't receive any money. That's the way they try to convince people. So,
and I know that for Lila, her government there is giving them no support either, are they? And I would
correct.
say for the most part, the governments are using this, I think, more to do what they do best, and that's to control their population
that's
to
it.
do as they wish, instead
Yes.
of allowing us to do what we know we need to do and can do if we were allowed to. And
Absolutely. In many states of India, not all states, many states of India, the government is already taking care for the people, and they are very much bothered about how to ensure healthy population. That they are already doing. But in few states, lower strata people, they are not aware of it, and more than that, they have to come out, whatever be the situation, they have to earn because hand to mouth, whatever they are getting, they have to survive. Therefore, they are coming out, and it is uncontrollable now.
and I know from what I've heard from my friends there, the police actually patrol the streets to make sure that people are not out, and that if they are out, they're masked, and they're only allowed to go out and try and get food during short periods of time. And you know, let's think about what is this doing to our upcoming population of learners, and how are they ever going to be able to cope when they're not allowed to get any kind of support or help? Parents and families, they are in such dire straits, and oh, I don't know, it's a huge traumatic situation for all of the countries and for all of our learners. Oh my goodness.
Yes, because the problems we're having with education, for example, last year, schools were shut down. So the students do not have the opportunity to have physical classes. Everything was online, but you know that online classes are completely different from the ones that can be given when you are with the students and you can create this special climate. So lots of contents were not taught. The students couldn't create this this sort of relationship that is essential for the process of learning. So they learned very little. And besides, they missed school.
I know, but you know, it also was what motivated and coaxed me to do what I'm doing now, which is to give people the opportunity to obviously learn in a different way, but to learn from each other from all cultures instead of being told by the textbooks and the teachers what it is our government wants them to know, because our curriculum is government structured. And so for that, I'm thankful, because at least it's allowed some people, and certainly some young children, opportunities to be able to interact with, and speak to, and learn from other children and adults in the other countries. You know, and I think that's really important as well.
See, this is one of the good consequences of this pandemic crisis.
Well, if there is a good consequence, I think what it does is it only shows, though, that if you use online and the internet correctly and well, it can be a huge asset, you know, and that there are some really good things out there, and we need to help the learners find them and know what they are. But
of course.
But you know what my kids say that they miss the most is just being able to get a hug from their friends.
Of course, yes. Social life. Yeah. I will say the smell of the classroom, the smell of the time when they are in a break, during the break. So those smells are typical, and they are needed emotionally. And here in Argentina, I imagine that in the States the same happened. Students had emotional problems because they couldn't go out, not even to have a walk in a park or in a square. So they suffered a lot. They were not allowed to do any kind of exercise. So they got fat last year. So they also have physical problems and health problems. Well, everybody have been having this type of problems. But it is a pity that because of the way education was handled and is still being handled now, the students are suffering from that. And it is difficult to convince, well, here the governments are against education because they want to control population, and if they are ignorant, it's much better. This is what happens.
And why is it that so many of us still follow what the government tells us we have to do? I think it's because people are scared to take the risk to stand up for what they believe in and what's right. However, you know, there's a tipping point. You get enough people on board and we can start making some changes, you know, in the policy and what's going on. But you've got to have the numbers to be able to do that, you know, and enough. It's interesting that in India, before all of this hit, students were beginning to protest because they were wanting to be able to follow passions, to have an education that was going to allow them to be happy and successful, and they didn't feel they were getting that even pre-COVID from the system. And so I know in Mumbai there were a number of outbreaks of violence, and there was a huge clash between the government and the learners. And of course, then COVID hit, and that shut like everything down, you know. But people, we do need to start to stand up for what's rightfully ours, and help people learn how they can maybe use their own environment and strategies and techniques to be able to survive, at least within their own, you know, living environment. But it's I'm so lucky that I don't have to live in those huge cities, you know, that are just everybody's packed on top of everybody else. And
Yes.
you know, here, as you can see, I'm in the country.
Space, enough
I have
space to
space,
enjoy
I
life.
have people around me, and so I'm very blessed.
That's good.
So what's it in your talk? Mamtaz is having a.
I don't know what his mom does doing.
I don't know.
What are you doing? Connecting people.
Okay, should I start now our regular program? Okay.
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 Okay. Congratulations to all who have joined this new. Just especially today's our new guest, Tracy Hanson. Welcome to our platform, Tracy.
Good morning, everybody.
Shandip sir, unmute your microphone. Just.
Yes, good morning, ma'am.
Good
Good
morning.
evening, sorry. In our country, it is evening just now. Your side, it's
Good morning
morning.
for me.
Good morning,
Yes, yes.
Tracy Hanson, USA.
Both together.
Okay, let's get very nice to meet you all and grateful to be with me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone in today's 14th episode of the Round Table Session organized by World Educator Bangladesh Chapter. Today's topic, learning environment in 21st century environment class. Learning environment in 21st century environment based class. As always, our eminent teacher from home and abroad are present with us today. So we are starting the program. First, I want to say something to this topic and listen to the discussions of our negotiators. So today's our new guest, Tracy Hanson. Probably she is USA. Are you right?
Yeah,
okay.
USA.
So I have invited Tracy Hanson in our weekly roundtable sessions, who will discuss today's topic in detail. And I have selected to Tracy Hanson as a keynote speaker in this program. I raised some questions on today's topic about for our negotiators who is elaborately discussed. So learning environment today need to enhance the variety of place, ideas, and people that the modern world demand or reflect a flexibility of space, time, people, and technology. Technology can help seamlessly support a 21st century learning environment by blending physical and digital arrangement. When I think that when we entered a 21st environment by sensory learning environment, so hope that we all of quickly see that interactive learning, higher level thinking, skill, and student engagement are pervasive, whether students are learning math, science, or biology, and reading and or historical different subject that. So the teacher you see here are all from different countries of the world. They are contact to me in different way all the same time. I want to say something about today's topic, and in this stage, I will come to Tracy Hanson. Please, first of all, introduce yourselves all our for our audience, and some elaborately discuss our today's topic. Okay. Over to you, Tracy Hanson.
Okay, all right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Here it is morning, and I know it is afternoon and evening in many places. And I'm honored that Memtez has invited me. My name is Tracy Hanson. I am a global educator, and I live in the state of Maine, which is in the northeast part of the United States, right under Canada. And we are currently in a heat wave, so it's up to over the 90s today in the last few days, which is not a temperature that we are used to here, although I do know that in many of your countries, that's not an unusual temperature. And I'm really looking forward to discussing the topic when Memtez wants me to. I'm not sure when that is, but also to let you know that I am an interactive speaker and an interactive teacher, which means that I'm hoping you will all also talk, because I'll ask questions and I want to know what your thoughts are. So don't sit there quietly the whole time, okay? Memtez, do I send back to you? See, I don't know exactly what your format is. I think I've seen some of these people before, actually. Their faces look pretty familiar.
I'm familiar to you. That's great.
Mhm. So I don't know, but I guess before we start, I'm just going to ask you some questions to think about.
Okay.
What is learning? What's the purpose of education? Who is the learner?
Teacher and students are learners. Both of them are learners. We are learning all the time. We are learning, we are getting information from them. That's why we can improve and we can grow as professionals, because we are learning all the time. For me, students are great because although if they are not speaking, I can get information from them. And that's great because that's a way of improving my own practices. So what you need to do is to be a good communicator, a good observer, and a good listener. That's it.
What is the learning environment? What is the learning environment? Where is the learning?
Everywhere, everywhere. Well, I'm going to remain silent. Let's give the opportunity to others to speak. I'm very talkative, you know.
Carry on.
Sandeep, what do you think?
It's at home, it's in the street, it's in the classroom, it's in the garden, it's everywhere.
Ubiquitous.
Does the education system use everywhere for our learners to learn from, or are they restricted?
It is restricted in some parts of the world. It is restricted, and it depends on the teacher, because we are in a period of transformation in education. So we have traditional teachers and innovative teachers. So those who are innovative try to go beyond the walls of the classroom, because they are dealing with active methodologies which promote learning outside the classroom, and that's great because they have the students have experiential learning.
Tracy, I have a question.
Yes, Memtez?
Okay. What are the requirements of 21st century education?
Well, you know, that's what I'll get into, I guess, because is the 21st century education developing in a positive way or in a negative way? And what pieces are we lacking? You know, I think for me, the easiest way for me to explain my belief is to share with you my philosophy. And I don't know, Memtez, do you want me to do that yet?
Have you any questions, Tracy?
Yeah.
No,
Do you want me to share the philosophy with these people here now?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So I'll share my screen. I'm going to share with you just a picture. I just want you to look at the picture
Now you can share your screen. I permit you.
Look at the picture and just see what it means to you. And maybe in the chat box, write down some of your thoughts about what you see in it and what it means to you. Okay? So here's the picture. I just want you to look at it. See if you see anything different or special or what it means to you personally.
The learner has a wider perspective with this proposal, because the students have the opportunity to learn other skills which are not present in the traditional model. So what you are proposing is to give the students an integral way of learning. And in this way, he will be able to become an active learner, an active citizen in his own society, because the idea is to prepare them for the moment they are living and for the future. Normally we say we are preparing our students for the future. No, we are preparing them for now, and then the strategies that they may learn now with us will be used in their own lives. And of course, they will go on improving the strategies we have given them while they are at school.
Yeah, and this is also, it's like a Venn diagram, you know, overlapping. You can see them overlapping. So it's really holistic. It's really holistic. And the global citizen is overlapping with giving back to the community, to mastering the subject. And the learner is the center. The best part of this whole diagram is the learner is the center of everything. So the learner is, everything else is revolving around the learner. So I think it's absolutely focused, very, very focused and very learner centric. Yes, very, very learner centric.
I'm going to put another picture over it. It should be a picture, it's the same thing, but it should be a picture of something which is very familiar to everybody, I hope.
Oh,
What does this remind you of? I'm hoping that it's going to remind you of something that we use every day.
It's
to be able
a
to
wheel.
move.
It's a wheel. It's a wheel, and it's creating global citizen. Again, this is learner centric, very learner centric. And what I love best of this is give back. That is gratitude, teaching that generation gratitude. Very important.
And please remember what you're saying about the give back. Okay, so you're right. It's a wheel, and as in every wheel, there's three parts. There's always the hub, that's the center, and then the rim, and then the spokes that connect the center to the rim so that it will move.
Yeah. So it's dynamic. It's very dynamic.
But
More than
what I'm hearing from you all, oh, Lila, I'm sorry, go ahead.
More than that, it shows the interdependence of each and every factor for the development of the society, development of the country. Just like we are already dealing with family, peers, educator, community, all these factors are revolving together for one particular purpose, that is the welfare of the country, welfare of the human being, welfare of the whole world. That's what I have come to know.
Can you see yourself in this picture? Do you know who you are in this picture?
We are the spokes of the wheel.
Say that again.
We are the spokes of the wheel, I said.
Yes. Are you just one spoke of the wheel?
We are all.
No,
all the things, each and every spokes, center.
Peers, we are family, we
and
are educators, we are community, we are global citizen, all.
That's right. But you are also something else that you've forgotten about.
We are learners also.
Yes.
The center part.
You are the center as well. Because you see, in the matrix, our definition of a learner is any person or group of people who are exploring their environment to gain knowledge. So whether it's each one of you individually, or we look at ourselves as a group and define who we are as a group and put ourselves into that center, or you're a community, or you're a country, okay, whatever it is that's being defined is what is in the center of that wheel, the learner. At the same time, you are also the spokes. And then that takes us to what that rim is. And that's the learning cycle, as the matrix sees it. We don't believe learning happens when we don't ask questions. Questions are what motivate us to find answers. That's the learn. And where do we find those answers? We find them from our resources. Not one resource, from our resources. And in our education system globally, when you get answers, what you do with them is to take a test to show you have the answers. Not in the matrix. Because testing doesn't show knowledge. It shows who's good at studying and able to do tests and who isn't.
Yes, agree.
And those that may not be are penalized. Okay. And the tests aren't even given fairly because in most countries, they're given in English and the students don't have the English well enough to pass them. So it is the learner that's in the center that asks questions. And it is those spokes that should help them find those answers to be able to create something, do something with the knowledge that they're getting so that they can give it back to those spokes.
May I say something?
Yes, I'm not sure who's talking, but.
Okay, sadly, nowadays, we are like teaching our student or our student, they are become like degree minded. They give it.
I lost you.
Exams. That's why when they go to the field, to the working life or to the field of working or something like that, they are unable to cope with the demands of today's technology and knowledge, etc. And this is, I believe, everywhere, not in Palestine only. People are become degree minded. I just enter the university to get the degree, not the knowledge.
But don't you?
I don't know if you agree with me or not.
I agree with you.
Absolutely agree. Yes, absolutely agree.
Who created that way of thinking? Where is that coming from? When they're born and they begin to learn, is it all about, I need to go to college and get a degree as a doctor or as a computer technician? Is that what they're looking at when they're outside playing and digging in the dirt and trying to see what animals are living in there? Or when they come up and they start to ask you questions and so forth? Is that what's happening? Or is it programmed for them by
it's programmed to them by the government, by the society also.
And who?
Community, the community is responsible for it.
And who else?
I don't know if we can blame ourselves also as teachers.
Yes, I think that we should be blamed because we are still having a traditional way of teaching that is old-fashioned. So what we need to do is to make the governments recognize that the place in which transformational education starts is the classroom. And we teachers are the ones who will be responsible for this change. We cannot accept any longer regulations or designs from the government, because whenever they indicate some education reform, it is just a reform that normally we try to apply them in the best way, because sometimes they are utopic. They cannot be applied in the reality we have in the classroom. But anyway, we try hard to do it. The problem is that there are many teachers who prefer to remain in the comfort zone. So they go on like this because following a traditional model, it's something simple because everything is structured, everything is always the same, is repetitive. So there isn't much work to do because they use always the same ideas, the same pieces of information. So when you are innovative, you step outside the comfort zone and you start realizing that there are other ways of learning. This, for example, this matrix of the learner is an example of innovation. There are many other examples in which teachers are now working very hard. Not all the teachers around the world. There is a group of innovators, which is not as big as the ones who still prefer the traditional model. But we are working very hard, and I think that in the future, those who are against this innovative movement will realize that that's the only way. We cannot accept traditional teaching any longer. And governments one day will have to accept that when they realize that what we are doing, we innovative teachers are doing, is working, because students learn in the way we are proposing at the moment, these new methodologies, active methodologies in which the students are central in the process. And we know that they work.
Patricia, can
I feel, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I feel sorry to the situation we are in now, of what I said, that the students are coming for a degree and not for knowledge. As she said, now we have to blame ourselves, right? We have to blame ourselves, but the thing is, one hand cannot clap alone. I feel sorry for them. I try to do something, but other teachers, they are traditional. They are doing that, like they are not thinking out of the box, etc. So one hand cannot clap alone. Or we said, like we have a proverb here, like if the community become insane, your mind won't help you. So you have to follow the track or so.
Okay, now I guess I'm going to ask another question. Where in this picture do you see the word teacher?
Educator. Educator.
Ah, educator.
Yes.
Do you see the word teacher?
Teachers
No,
long passé gone.
The term
It's
teacher
either
is no longer
a
used.
facilitator. Nowadays, it's more of a facilitator of knowledge, not a teacher, not an educator, a facilitator of knowledge.
Yes, and there lies also a difference in the matrix, you see. We don't call ourselves teachers because as a teacher, we were trained to tell them what they needed to know for the purpose of taking tests. That's what our training was all about. Educators understand that they ask questions, they stimulate, they motivate, they follow the learners, and they support them in achieving their goals, not the educators, their goals, so that they can graduate happy and successful in the line of work they want to be in. But you also were talking about the spokes must be connected to the cycle if the learner is going to be successful. If you look at family and parents, and I know this is going to stop in a minute, but think about the cultures and how do the parents view their children even before they're born. Even before they're born. I also have a room and it's not time limited in case you want to use that. But
Tracy, please continue your screen share.
I'm going to just put the picture back up again because I think it's important. Whoops, oops, oops, oops. Let's get rid of that. And get rid of that. And there's the picture. Okay. I think it's important to see all the pieces. Okay. When I was in India, I spoke at a school with over 200 parents. In one of the aisle rows was a parent, a lady very pregnant. And I went and I asked her, oh, how exciting you do to have a baby. What will he be? She didn't pause, not 1 second. He will be a doctor. What if she doesn't want to be a doctor? What will you do then? What if she doesn't want to be a doctor? What will you do then? And the entire audience grew silent. Because up until that time, they didn't realize they were predetermining what they wanted their kids to be even before they were born. Although that's what I was saying.
Yeah, that's because, you know, many of the parents who haven't fulfilled their own dreams, they want to fulfill the dreams through the children, which is so unfair, which is absolutely unfair.
And that's where we get the difference between the carpenter and the gardener. Okay, you cannot ignore family and parents when you're talking about the learning process. Okay? They also are learners. And we need to put them in the center as well so that they can explore those attitudes, because you're right, many of them never had the same opportunities that their kids are getting. Okay. And they want a better way for them. But in the end, how many of them achieve that better way that they were hoping for, or come out of the education system without the skills necessary to be successful? Or they've left school by the time they've finished 4th grade or 8th grade or whatever, because there's nothing there for them. There's nothing there for them. So it isn't, you need to understand that if these spokes are ignored as learners, then they're broken spokes. Family is a broken spoke. Peers are a broken spoke because of how we look at them as being the instigators and the problem for bullying or cheating. And we spend multi-million dollars on curriculum to teach or tell our students not to do something which is a social disease and happens everywhere they look, but we'll blame them instead. Let's blame them so that we don't have to take that responsibility. when in fact, peers are huge educators to each other. And we already know, so that spoke is broken. We already know that the educator spoke is kind of limping along, right? It's semi-connected, but not well. And community is a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of learning opportunities that aren't used, that don't even realize the symbiotic relationship between the learners and themselves, so that when the learners get to be of age to work, they already have people motivated, interested, and excited about doing whatever those community areas are that they looked at. And global citizens is only connected for a few. Okay. Because so many of our, particularly of those that we talked about, of our poor people, they don't have the ability to be global citizens. So we're looking at a bicycle wheel that's trying to move forward on half a spoke. How does that work? Okay. What happens is that, in fact, the learner can't find success. And if the learner is not finding success, that wheel does not move forward. It moves backwards. And so does everything attached to it. Which is why we are not making progress, nor were we making great progress before COVID with the Sustainable Developmental Goals. As Momtaz and I have talked about, and as I have talked in many countries and proven with a huge group of learners in Nepal, there's only one sustainable developmental goal that all the others fall under. And until that one goal is changed and is moving forward, none of the other goals will really accomplish much. What goal is that? You all know. It's goal 4. It's education. It's an education goal. And all the other goals, when we begin to change how our learners are thinking and what we allow them to learn, and allow them to ask the questions so that they can help each other find some answers and move us forward, we will continue to stay mired in ignorance and continue to go backwards in our development. Because the bicycle wheel, it just can't move if it's not connected.
Yes,
So
we have to change the mentality.
So, you know, you can't blame it on teachers or educators, because what are they getting? They're getting the children from families and parents who have already told them, you must, you know, work hard. You must come home and study hard. You must get A's. You must do this. You must do that. And how many children are committing suicide at the age of our teens? Our teen suicide rate is huge.
Tracy, we talked about it with you that one children were describing about her life. That was really very sad. One girl from Bangladesh, she also told the system that we are running on, this is not a good system. If we wish, we cannot change it due to our environment. CDU management system already broken all the education system all over the world. You know, especially the people, those who are the moneyed men, they are making this kind of net where people cannot make any decision, because the teacher, he's here, he thought many things, but he might not change the decision of the society, as because society appointed him or her in the school or university, and they should obey their laws. I see many of my friends, teacher, They just want to betray with that, but they failed. Because, in last day, I talked about that parents are the main issue. If they are not knowledgeable, if they are poor, if they are guided by the people, those who are running the industries, they cannot coming out from their mindset. That's another big problem. But your will is very wonderful, and we all know it. If we go back 3,000 years back, Socrates, Aristotle, and other people learned by themselves. Nature helped them to create a lot of ideas. Even, Einstein failed in Polytechnical Institute, and even Newton, he was thinking in his own way. And if I just start this program, I'm just telling you one simple, my experience. Once I start to teach the children in my home, science, I have a very big laboratory in my home where children can do their experiment by themselves. And I invite all the children to come here. But parents were the main hindrance. They're not allowing them, oh, why should you go there? It will not cover up your syllabus. You will not get the good marks. Even in one Upajala, I started one program that children will come at the end of the week. They will do whatever they wish, but we will just guided them how the science and other things is working. But the word should be discovered by the children. So they will start to learn by themselves. And after 2 months, the school teacher became so annoyed, and they just process against me. They're telling, oh, the people, he is just destroying the brain of the children, as because teachers were not able to get the children for their private tuition. But the children were very eager to come to me and to learn. And some of the students are right now in the university. Sometimes they ring me and tell me, sir, why should you not continue your program? But I cannot explain them what are the social factor. And this is not only here, all over the world, this thing is going on. Even in America, many children are just suiciding due to the pressure of the parents and the syllabus and the curriculum. Another colleague from America, Korn, he also said that many of the children are suiciding due to the pressure of the parents and the school, but they are not able to express it in front of us. But in third world, the problem is another, because parents are always pressuring them. You have to go to the school, you have to follow the teacher, and you have to cramming all the things, and you have to vomiting all the things in the exam hall. I want to see you as a doctor or as an engineer. I don't want to listen anything. In Bangladesh, for medical examination, at least 2 lakh children go to the private institution. Out of that, only maybe 800 students were allowed for the medical science. Ultimately, they did a big business, unbelievable business. And this is another way.
Out of those 800, maybe 5 of them wanted to be doctors.
Right. So why we are not thinking fine arts is one of the subject, poem writing is one of the subject. Maybe you are a dress designer, you can do a wonderful thing. Even now, chefs are doing very wonderful thing. We are learning a lot of things, but we cannot change the mindset of our policymaker, our parents. So we need a voluntary organization. And last day I talked with you. We need a especially university student as a volunteer to change this situation all over the country. It might be take a time, but we have to start it from now. In our old age, we are talking about it. I hope the young people will understand and they will start some program in order to overcome this sort of problem. All over the world, we are just destroying a lot of the brains. Shagorika also started one very good program, how sports can help the children in order to nourish by themselves. And Patricia always talking like that, you have to give them a freedom so they will able to learn. You don't press them. They will find out their own way, how to move. So please continue. Tracy, you just find out and you're just working with very wonderful thing where the world should be think newly. What should we do? Thank you.
You actually came to our session this last time, didn't you? When we read the Eric Carle play that we did.
Sorry, in my home there was no electricity. Anyway, go on.
Tracy, I wanted to add something here, if I may.
Please.
I'm Mohammed Hassan from Bangladesh, and I'm actually looking after a project to develop and enhance our education system in various schools and colleges. Now, there are two fundamental questions that I have, and I'm sure, Tracy, that you'd be able to shed some light on this. Thank you for giving us this wonderful matrix. I hope that we can use it in our environment here in Bangladesh. But there are more fundamental questions that needs to be answered before we go into that kind of level of understanding of learning.
Mhm.
The first thing is that in Bangladesh, all studies and learning process is based on examinations. We target exams. And because the ultimate aim of our education system is to get a good degree, we don't learn. All that we do is to find ways and methods of getting a good grade. That's the first issue. The second issue that we have, that our education is in no way connected to our lives. Everything that we learn just because of the examinations. We do not see what kind of applications we have in our lives. Just giving a small example. We all know that 2 plus 2 makes 4. There is nobody in Bangladesh who doesn't know that 2 plus 2 makes 4. But if you ask the same question in a different way, nobody would be able to answer that question, which is that why is it 4? There is nobody in Bangladesh as of today who can answer that question, that why 2 plus 2 makes 4 and not 5 or not 6, not 7, or why, or can it be some other number other than 4? Now, that learning is fundamental, but we are never taught in that manner. In other words, that we do not know what is meant by addition or subtraction or multiplication or division or exponentiation. We do not know what is the link an addition has to our life, how an addition aids our life, how a subtraction aids our life. We don't know these issues.
Why
Now,
not?
because
Why not? Why not? Why
the
don't
issue,
we know?
okay, that is the important question, that why we do, because we are told from the very start that
We are what? We are what?
we are told from the start that in addition, we have to memorize things, which means that 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8. We need to memorize it. We memorize this. And after we memorize this, we go to the class and we say that, okay, if you add 2 plus 2, yes, the answer is 4. But if the question is that in a country where there are no 10 digits, they have only 4 digits, where we have 0, 1, 2, and 3, what would be the result of that addition? If you add 2 plus 2 in a country where there are only 4 digits up to 3, in that country, 2 plus 2 will not make 4. 2 plus 2 will make 10. But the value of 10 in our country with 10 digits will equal to 4. Now, nobody in this country or in India or in Pakistan or in Sri Lanka is given that fundamental knowledge of how we link mathematics to our life. What is the purpose of teaching mathematics? Or what is the purpose of teaching science? Now, these things are not taken into consideration. And that is the unfortunate part that we have in our education system. Now, we can talk about wonderful things around, but this is fundamental.
It is.
If we cannot relate our education to our lives, then there is no point of that education.
And that's why our kids leave, isn't it?
I thank you, Tracy, for pointing that out at the beginning.
But
That
there's
the
also very simple
learning environment is critical. is critical as to what the purpose of learning is. The first thing that you asked, what is education? You also asked, what is learning? Now, those are fundamental questions. If we do not understand what those things are, then we are nowhere. I have been asking these questions to my students everywhere I go, that is it easy to pull or to push? Now, everybody answers me that it is easier to push. Nobody really knows that answer. But if you give him a force analysis of pulling and pushing, they would do it correctly. They would not have any problem. But when it goes to the application in life, that if you have a heavy element that you want to move from one place to the other, will you really pull it or you really push it? So eventually what happens? Everybody pushes. And that is why 45% of population of Bangladesh has back pain. By the age they are 40, they're all suffering from back pain. Now, this back pain comes from where? From pushing the heavy things. If they had pulled it, they wouldn't really have that back problem. So what I'm trying to say, Tracy, is that we need to address the fundamental issue of what education really is.
And what the purpose of gaining knowledge is.
And what is the purpose of gaining knowledge? And that is where the answer comes, that we want to improve our lives. We want to improve our daily lives so that we can lead a better life. Now, there is no link in our education system. There is no link between the lives. We do not know what life is all about. We do not know why we're here. We do not know how did we come to this earth. We have no clue. We have no idea. What I'm trying to tell you, Tracy, is that we need to change the model of learning. We need to bring a new component of learning process, which is linking every bit of information to applying it to real life in order for us to create that knowledge that can be transferred from one person to the other. And that is where we need to put our efforts, which is linking information. We cannot give knowledge. The teachers cannot give knowledge. Knowledge is untransferable. What you can transfer, what you can transfer is information. Now, that information needs to be applied in order to create knowledge. If the student applies a piece of information and creates knowledge by himself, that is what learning truly is. And that is where we would like to come in and say that, look, this is not a one-way process where the teachers says and the student listens, memorizes, and then vomits. No.
Yes.
The teachers, the students are as innovative, if not more, than the teachers. So the process of teacher is basically to create a method of creating that knowledge and be the facilitator of spreading that uniformly into the class. But if I, as a teacher, if I think that I know everything and I stand in front of the students and I tell them to listen, I tell them to shut up, to listen and to memorize, and then come back and appear in the exam to vomit what I have told them to write. So there is no innovation of the students that are added to the process of learning. It is not a collaborative process. In our country, where I live in, the learning is to listen to the teacher, try to understand as best as you can, and if not, ask questions. Then you shut up and try to take notes, memorize, and then go to the exams and vomit things. And that is what life is all about here in our education system. This cannot continue, should not continue. Coronavirus is an opportunity for us to redesign our education system, specifically the pedagogy, specifically the delivery, the classroom delivery of the students. And that is where I believe we should go in, and that is where we should make the changes, tweak our systems, make it collaborative, and link everything to life. Thank you so much, Tracy, for listening to me, and everybody else, thank you so much for listening to me.
Yeah, I would
Well,
like to
what-
add over here. Can I?
Yes,
Can I?
please.
Yeah. So I absolutely agree by what Mr. Mohammad Hassan has to say. Absolutely. But then see, this is we can't really change our board. We can't change the country's mindset. We can't change the parent mindset. So as a lead in the institution, as a principal, as the head of school, what I have done in my school is that I really don't care. Now, see, we are given, the syllabus is given to us and we need to deliver. But how we need to deliver is something that I have started working on. And every lesson plan that the teacher makes, I ensure that there are 3 things in a lesson plan. Over and above all the planning, first of all, I mean, over and above the 3 things, the thing is that the child should be the center of education. It should be more child-centric and not teacher-centric. Okay, so it has to be the communication has to be there. It has to be an interactive class. But in the interactive class, apart from the maxims of teaching and apart from Bloom's taxonomy, I have included global perspectives. That is, how would you connect? For example, if in maths the teacher is doing the topic time, if the teacher is doing the topic time, the teacher also has to say in a global perspective that time, that there are different timings in the globe. You have GST, you have IST, you have PST, you have EST. Okay, so time is not the same. Time is all different because of the rotation and the revolution of the earth. Fine. So this is one.
Which brings in what other subject then?
Yeah. So hold on. Yeah, that would bring in geography also. Okay. Thereafter, so one is a global perspective. Second thing that I ask in the lesson plan is to include the UN SDGs, the UN Sustainable Development Goals, because it is very important for every child to sensitize every child towards the sustainable goals. So why is saving time more? Why do we talk of saving time in the topic? We talk of saving time because time is precious. Once you lose time, you don't get back the time. But all this interaction, all this inquiry, all this curiosity is developed in the classroom itself because it is an interactive session and the learner is in the center of the wheel, you know. And the third thing that I involve with respect to the lesson plan is interdisciplinary learning. How can we connect time to other subjects also, as you rightly mentioned, Tracy, just now? That is, time is in everything. Physics also, there is time. Geography also, there is time. History also, you go back to time. Maths, of course, there is time. In English also, in every subject. So the importance of time is everywhere. So these are the 3 things that I ensure in every lesson plan while the teachers are planning. Because see, I can't change the parent thoughts. I can't change the government thoughts. I can't change rote learning. I can't change examination system. I can't change this much. But at least the little bit that is there in my hand, I can certainly work on that. And these are the areas that I have been working. And it certainly is doing very well. And my children come from remote areas, very remote areas, from very poor background. So giving them that kind of exposure is really helping them, because they are becoming global citizens. They are all becoming global citizens, and it is our duty as educators how we can bring it to them. So when we know that we can't change the system, it is better that we look within, how we can change ourselves, how we can change our delivery of that particular syllabus, which is already mapped, that is already given to us in our books. We can't change that. But let's, rather than looking out, let's look within and let us see how we can do our best. And it actually works wonders.
And when you
and the formative assessments are in our hands. Formative assessments are totally in our hands. So how can we have this formative assessment? Depends on us. We can have the formative assessments also keeping all these things in mind. Summative assessments, okay, yes, I totally understand that they have to have a certain pattern. We can't change them. But formative assessments can be very creative. So all these things we assess through formative assessments, you know. That's all.
Can I comment something?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you for your explanation, but I want to ask you, how many teachers in your school do the same as you do?
I ensure I'm the lead in the school. I ensure that I check everyone's lesson plan, right from all the grades, all the subject. This is one thing that I really pay attention to, is that checking each and everyone's lesson plan. And I take the lesson plan 1 month beforehand, so that I also get time, and I ensure that there is a lot of creativity in the lesson plan, because teachers also have to be, I put the teachers through a lot of rigor for research. I ask them to get into a lot of research, because the lesson plan has to be heavy. And once it's a lesson plan, then I check the delivery. I visit in Zoom also. I'm visiting the classes in Zoom. I troll between classes in Zoom just to check that the teachers also delivering whatever it's not just written in the lesson plan, that they're delivering the same. And I ask them to click pictures and put it on the group, that this is the activity that they have done, this is what the picture they've shown them, because I can't be in every class at that one particular time. So I asked them to click pictures and put it there. And I've put this to their appraisals. I said, if I see this only, then you'll get your appraisals. Otherwise, I don't want just ordinary teachers just coming and delivering here and going away. Sorry, I will not accept that, you know.
Another
So
question, how many schools in your country follow the same steps you are doing?
I don't know about that. And I don't even care whether they're doing it or no. But I would want to do it, and I ensure that I do it in my school. You know, that is how, because I can't go and change mindsets of people, you know. I'm not here to go change mindset of people, mindset of parents. It's a huge task. So rather, I have the satisfaction at the end of the day that yes, we are developing good global citizens. That is it. That is it.
Fine.
And I'm
Now
sure
we
there are
come to
things
the,
happening.
now we come to the question. The global question is, until unless we change the mentality of the people, of the society, of the teachers, we will not be able to proceed further. As Tracy said, before the baby is born, we decide his future. We want him to be a doctor. We want him to be an engineer. We don't care whether he is capable of doing that or not. And this is not in India or in America, it's everywhere, even in Palestine. We decide that, okay, my son, I want him to be a doctor. Whether he agreed or not, I want him to be a doctor. And sometimes he might not get good grades because he doesn't want to be a doctor. And this affects the entire family. So unless we do think for like changing the mentality, like today's children are different from yesterday's and years before. They are now native of technology. We are immigrants. Unless we accept that and give them the freedom to be and to explore and to be what they want to be, the same problem will exist. So I think we have to change our mentality as society, as Ministry of Education, as government, then things might be okay. And it doesn't depend only on the society, the teacher also, the teachers have to change. They should stop spoon feeding. They should now give the chance to the student to explore, to learn by doing. We are still following the old system that the teacher has the knowledge, the teacher has to impart the knowledge to the students has to listen, and they have to apply what the teacher says. And this is what led us to go back, not to go forward. Unless the students are free to explore, to do their work, things will not change. So give the student freedom to be what they want to be, to choose the profession they want to be in, and see how the society and the situation will be different. Thank you.
And let me just put in here that if the educators are not excited and happy and motivated about what it is that the knowledge that they're sharing with their learners, then their learners aren't going to be excited about it either. So I guess my question is, given that all of these expectations that you have on your teachers to do what it is they're doing, in the end, are they enjoying it? Are they having fun? So a couple of you have been to my program. And we've got a lot of hands up, so I want to hear them, but then I want to share with you our program and see if you can't see how it incorporates many of the things that you're talking about. In fact, I believe it's something that should be embedded in the curriculum of all countries everywhere in the world. And the interesting thing about it is that it's simple. It takes away the pressure of being the teacher and allows learning to happen because you're facilitating it. You're not controlling it, okay? And that well, I guess I want to listen to some questions, and then I will share with you a little bit about the program that a few of you have had the opportunity to visit once in a while. So Mohammed, you have your hand up?
Yes, I do. I just had one question, Tracy. Now that you have visited India and you have also coached lots of teachers around in this area, what do you think, from your own perspective, to be our major problem of enhancing the knowledge delivery and the learning process? What is your perspective? And where do you think we should improve on? What do you think is the critical problem, the main problem?
I don't think it's in India. I think it's a global problem.
Yeah, yeah, right.
You guys need to stop saying, well, in Bangladesh or in India or in Nepal, because, and when I visit India, the first thing they ask is, are you bringing an American educational way of thinking to us to share? And I would say to them, why would I do that when it is failing our children as well? I'm only bringing something to you to get you to, first of all, think, okay? When I go to India or wherever I go, I don't go and talk just to the educators.
Right.
Because that's only one spoke in the wheel.
Right, yeah.
I work with families and parents in oh my goodness, in India or in anywhere. What's the main thing that the parents want to do with their children when they see me? What do you think it is? Any ideas?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking any of you. Okay.
Okay.
What do parents want to see happen when they see me, when they have their kids?
They have to speak to you in English and ask you some questions in English.
Yeah. And it doesn't even matter if it's in English. They have to come up and greet me. They have to say hello. They are literally pushed to do that. And what do you think my response is?
You are super excited to talk to them.
I tell the parents to leave their kids alone and to stop forcing them to do something which obviously, if you're watching the child who's sitting there hiding behind their parent or crying, you aren't listening to them. They are saying, well, she is different. I have never seen anything like her. I'm not going near her until I have a chance to watch and listen and size her up. And when I feel comfortable, I'll go and reach out to her. Okay. Inevitably, kids will come to me on their time and their terms. And when that happens, then we can develop a positive learning relationship. But until that time, they are scared. And why won't parents recognize that? Why can't parents begin to start listening and watching?
So I think that the problem we are having at the moment that we are in a period of transformation. That's why some schools are still traditional. And in the case of Sagarita, for example, you are already innovating in your own school. So it happens because of what we are living at the moment, the process we are undergoing.
You know, whether or not all educators are doing as she's doing isn't the point. The point is that at least in one place, something is happening positive. And as more people become aware of that, then she is now the educator to help others do the same. Okay? That's the give back. Okay? As we learn these skills and can use them, it's our job to then give them back and help others understand and use them for their purposes as well. So it's getting late and people are getting tired. So I'm going to share with you my program, I guess. It's not really my program because actually I began it, but there are people around the world like Patricia who have offered pieces towards it to get it to where it is today. So over the last year, year and a half, it has formulated and developed and now become what we call the Global Matrix Readers Theater. So I'm going to share with you the website, just so you get a little bit of an idea more about who we are. NGGE, or Next Generation Global Education, is a not-for-profit education in the United States organization. It's a not-for-profit educational organization registered in the United States. Underneath that organization is the philosophy of the matrix of a learner. It is what everything we do is based on. And because of that understanding, it creates a very different learning environment. So, you know, it's ngge.org, and I would suggest you go and just play with it. There's a video here that talks about what the matrix means to people in and around the world. This is a trailer to a documentary film that was made about the matrix that never was launched because COVID hit. But you know, if you have the opportunity, go and listen to what they're saying and what they're talking about. And it might help you also understand the matrix from another point of view. And then you have the GMRT. And this I will play because you might get a little better idea about what GMRT is from the way that they tell you and present it.
Next Generation Global Education is excited to see the Global Matrix Readers Theater, GMRT, spreading around the world.
We are super excited and looking forward to opening this amazing learning platform.
What's this about? I've never heard of it before. I'm curious.
This is such an amazing platform to share each other's cultures, ideas, feelings, and thoughts.
The GMRT community is made up of cross-cultural families around the world.
Moreover, GMRT gives you an opportunity to improve your language skills naturally and in a fun way.
Really? That sounds quite interesting. Tell me more about GMRT.
The family members of GMRT communicate and interact with each other in English.
And you know, the more you speak, the more fluent you become.
I wish I could join the GMRT. I'm struggling with my fluency.
Not only will it help you to be fluent, but also help you to improve your listening, speaking, reading, and writing skills.
That's what makes GMRT approach so unique. Is it just about the English language? Not at all. It goes beyond improving language skills. Reading the specially designed GMRT scripts leads to discussions which sharpen our critical thinking and problem-solving abilities.
And GMRT allows us to discuss ongoing social issues without the fear of criticism. In fact, the platform is run on the philosophy of the matrix of a learner.
How can I get involved in such a platform?
By becoming a member of the GMRT family.
GMRT is training potential facilitators in many countries. All the information is here on the website.
You can join a family in any country that has GMRT licensed facilitators.
Why do you call it a family?
The Global Matrix Readers Theater is the safest place to share your knowledge, experience, and culture.
So there's this bonding and enthusiasm from people from different nationalities and different countries. And it's really exciting.
We love coming to GMRT and always leave with a smile on our face and a new thought in our head.
We are
really excited
to be sharing Global Matrix Readers Theater with you.
Do you know how many different countries were involved in that?
How many?
Quite a few. I think 10 or 11 countries. What
Right.
they were doing was reading a script, in a sense. And believe it or not, that script, the basic information in that script was designed and written by a group from Bangladesh, who was saying, we're excited that Bangladesh is going to be members of GMRT. And we just did a little bit of rewriting it and talking about the advantages and so forth of the GMRT platform with the little switch. But just what are some of your thoughts when you were listening, or questions when you were listening to that short dialogue where they're trying to explain a little bit about GMRT? No ideas, no thoughts? No
Well, it's an integral way of learning. That's why it's different. It's a holistic approach. And it goes beyond just learning what can be found in the classroom. It goes beyond the walls of the classroom. That's great. And there's communication, cooperation, working together. And this is very important, because this is what should be present in the process of learning. And cooperation, sharing ideas, sharing strategies. Because learning, you are showing that learning is a social act. It's not individual. The traditional school it tells us that learning is individual, and we cannot learn individually. We need others.
Right.
So this is the opportunity to learn all together. And this is what you're offering in this project.
And the young man, or the professor that was here from the university that actually joined us on Sunday, I don't see him here right now, but what's fascinating is that what we're doing is using a script. You know what I mean by a script? A story that is redesigned in an interactive way. So those people who are reading it are actually taking on a character or a thing, whether it's it's a Native American story that we've scripted, or it's a story about the water cycle that we script. We already know that we learn the least amount through reading. Just reading is where we get the least amount of our information. It's when we're able to use all of our senses in our learning, where we can hear it, we can touch it, we can feel it, we can do it, we can be it, that we remember it. Our education system tells us, and like everything, it goes in one ear and out the other. Okay? But when we do, when we get to discuss, when we feel, okay, it sort of sticks with us. And the scripts can be as simple or complicated as you want to make it. And let me share with you a script that we did on Sunday. Now, part of the process when you're in a GMRT is the steps that your members take. And every individual comes to that group in a different place with different skills. And it doesn't matter, because as a facilitator, you're watching the growth of each individual, and you can see it and you can hear it. You don't need to test it any more than you had to test your children when they started to walk to see if they knew how to do it. They were doing it. They were showing you. They were giving that back to you. Why don't we allow that to happen in all learning? So in the United States, there was a famous author who died in May, whose name was Eric Carle. Do you know who he is? Do you know who Eric Carle is? Money, yes. No. Has anybody ever heard of The Very Hungry Caterpillar? Brown bear, what do you see? No. Well, these really are rather famous children's books. I think The Very Hungry Caterpillar, I forget now how many different languages it's been written in, but the caterpillar is born and is searching for food because he's very hungry, and he finds all these things and he eats them until he's full, and then he hangs, becomes a chrysalis, and then flies away as a butterfly. We did something a little differently with the script. One of our facilitators, who started off just trying to figure out what it is, has become an amazing writer. Okay? Because the process leads you to being able to write all your own stories, whether it be in science or in social studies or in history, or whether you want to tell the story of the culture of women within where you live. everything has a story. So this was what we wrote, what she wrote for in memory of Eric Carle. And I'm going to share with you a little bit about our scripts as well, because they are specialized to a GMRT. We include in every script an introduction. And that introduction really depends on the person who's writing it and from the perspective of how they interpret the script. It's what we call flipping the classroom. Have you all heard of flipping the classroom? Allowing the learners to explore before they enter your classroom. This allows them to learn or explore before they enter the classroom. And there's hot links here for them to be able to explore. Okay. Here it talks about The Very Hungry Caterpillar, written in 1969, has been translated into 66 different languages and sold over 50 million copies. So this helps us to flip the classroom, let them explore, let them see what's going on. And again, an amazing amount of things that you can put into this. And when we did the script, you can see, again, it's very specialized in the way we do it. We use a certain font, 14. We want to make it easy for our readers because, as you saw in our GMRT video, we have all ages coming together to read a story. And we get all different viewpoints. Now, think about designing a story that you allow your students to read, and you have a parent group reading it as well. And then bring them together and have them do a group reading and start to walk in each other's shoes and hear what's going on and begin to be able to openly talk about it in a safe environment. What's really funny is we really thought that this is a very kind of fun, upbeat script. As the facilitators and the writers, we kind of thought this is kind of cool because some of the different characters in his books helped the very tiny caterpillar achieve what he needed to achieve, which was to get the food that was necessary to become the butterfly. Okay? And here are all the different characters. And finally, the butterfly. And it asks, who is your butterfly? But the thing is that each of them had their own problems, okay? I'm a very lonely butterfly. I am a slow sloth. You know, I'm a grouchy caterpillar. But I might be able to help you find something. And so even though they had their own problems, they still helped the tiny caterpillar achieve the butterfly. We had a young lady come in to this script, and she saw it entirely differently. She saw it from the perspective of nobody was listening to what the caterpillar was saying. Nobody was helping the caterpillar. And so the caterpillar was not getting what was necessary, wasn't getting the love, wasn't getting the support, wasn't getting the affection, wasn't getting the understanding, just like she wasn't getting from her family or her parents until she became suicidal and they thought maybe there was a reason to listen. And she started talking about that. And that led into talking about, again, cultures predetermining what you want your child to be. And it led into, okay. So as facilitators, bringing that into that group, do you think we had any idea that that was going to come up?
No.
No, not at all. And that's key to being a facilitator in GMRT. All you are doing with the group is putting a spark into the group. Okay. It's a spark for them to then interactively read and listen to, and then to talk about. And it's that, obviously, the English that comes out and the learning that comes out from reading the script, listening to the script, doing vocabulary and grammar and writing, all those things are embedded in that. But it's the afterwards that creates the learning and the discussion, where we really can start to talk about and understand. Maybe it might have been a science script. And that brings out different, maybe it's a math script about 2 + 2, maybe it doesn't equal 4. There's a wonderful story that we did from the Wayside School, where the teacher's trying to teach this boy how to count to 10. And until he can count to 10 her way, he can't go out for recess. Every time he counts, he gets the right answer, but he doesn't count it the way she wants it. It might be a 1, 7, 12, 4, 5. You have 5 things there. No, that's not right, she'd say. We don't have 5 things? Well, yes, you do, but you didn't do it right. You see. The boy who was reading that part where he had to read the numbers wrong stopped right away and said, that's not right. You can't count it that way. So we had to try and help him understand, you're playing a character. You have to leave yourself aside and play that character and see what's happening with that character and how they're feeling. The same with the teacher. At the end, they all got it. Okay? Why are you trying, why are you punishing? The person that read the teacher said, I felt terrible punishing the boy for not being able to go out for recess when he still had the right answers, but he wasn't doing it the way I wanted him to. And then some other people said, is it the end result which is most important, or how you get there? And are there more than one ways to get there? Than just one? Can you imagine? Can you imagine just the learning that took place at that time? And it was in an open session, which was a mixed group of all ages and walks of life. That's what also makes it sort of interesting. So,
Tracy, can I ask you some questions?
Please ask me some questions, because really, for me to try and really explain, unless you have the opportunity to be a part of it and do it, it's really hard to understand how simple it is. So, Mantha?
Okay. Yes, you said that you have run the program you have just shown in 10 countries. My question is...
No, I said there were 10 countries involved in reading that script.
Okay, fine. Okay, so how you maintain or you assure sustainability in those 10 countries who participated in reading the script, that they will do the same next time and they will not stop just after finishing this script?
I can't. I come to places like this. I share this. And if people are excited and want to learn more about how I can do this, what does a family mean? How can I form a group? Does it have to be in the school? Can it be in my church or my temple? Can it be in my community knitting group? Can it be with parents? It can be with anybody, as long as you understand. And how do you do it? You come back here and you subscribe to our newsletter, because that tells you what's going on. And then you say, I want to become a facilitator. And you fill this out. And you'll get a welcome letter, and then you'll get an invitation, and we'll say, well, in July, we're going to start another training to become a facilitator. And once you finish that training, you end up on this page here, where you have the access to the back end of our site, access to each other, the other facilitators that GMRT has. You now have access to be able to be in touch with all of them and say, hey, I have a group and I'm doing this play, I want to share it. Do you have, can we do something with your group? Or can we mix kids from your group with our group so we can do something this way? Okay, unlimited ways of networking with other facilitators to be able to do this. And you also have access to the scripts that are being developed by the facilitators and the groups as they develop. Because part of the process that we go through in this whole thing is to be able to write our own scripts for others to be able to read and learn from. So if I sign in, okay, what you see when on the outside with the scripts is you see 3 scripts here, which are examples of our scripts and very different. If you give a pig a pancake is a real simple children's story, or you give a mouse a cookie. Have you heard of those stories? No? Okay. Well, if you look at if you give a kid a pancake, it is such a simple story. He might want, if you give him a pancake, he's going to want some syrup. When it will get all sticky, he's going to have to take a bubble bath. Okay. Very simple, very brief story. And it's written from, the book itself. Look at what we can do, though, with the introduction. As I was thinking about developing the script, I was thinking about, my goodness, I love pancakes, and I had pancakes in India. They weren't the same. I wonder how many different kinds of pancakes are there from all different countries. And why couldn't we have a multicultural pancake breakfast? I can tap on the link that's there and look up 24 pancakes from around the world, so that the kids can explore that and look at that and try those things out, and what skills are involved in cooking: math, measurement, following directions, the science of things that rise and don't rise. Amazing. From pancakes. How many of you know how maple syrup is made? or where it comes from, or the process. In India, it's similar to how you make rubber, because I got a chance to go to a rubber plantation and see how rubber was made. But most people don't really know how maple syrup is made, except that it comes in a maple syrup bottle, which is usually just a lot of chemicals and stuff to make it. It's not real. But there's a science behind sugaring. Okay. How many gallons of fat does it take to boil off to get that much maple syrup? What's the ratio? Why does it change if there's more sugar value in that syrup, in the fat, than not? What is reverse osmosis? What is reverse osmosis? All of those things can be learned and taught through something as simple as this. From something as simple as a script. If we look at another one of the scripts, the lily root was a story, okay? Just a story that I read because I was looking at indigenous species, and I was trying to find a story I could turn into a script to make us understand more about an indigenous species. What it brought in was, first of all, where this came from, and it brought in a child's game called Cat's Cradle. Nobody's heard of Cat's Cradle. I grew up playing that. I love it. I had an opportunity to share and give that to other people around the world who can give it a try and see what it's like. But it also brought in the way indigenous people use plants in their environment for medicine. And they have the opportunity now through these various different sites to explore those, to look in their backyard, to see what's there, and to try them out, understand more about the medicinal properties that they have right in their backyard. Science, culture, social studies, math, all embedded just by reading a simple story. And maybe you have a particular person or a passion, and you want to tell their story as well, like we did with Eric Carle, and like I did with an American celebrity who's passed now, Fred Rogers, a very famous educator, who understood the importance of educating parents and community to the problems as much as the children. That's his script. Now we bring in music. We bring in the art of puppetry, because he had many puppets that he used. So we help them learn how to be able to make puppets. Okay. It's different things that we can explore. It just depends on the setup and who's writing that, that introduction. What's fun is the group of trainees that we have right now are all taking the same story, and they're all writing an introduction to that script. I cannot wait to see the different approaches and the different things that they highlight and bring into that script for learning. We have the ability to do so many things, and to get that interaction and understanding with each other around the world that is not government directed book learning told to us, where we cannot see outside the blinders. Do you have any thoughts or questions? And how many of you have had an opportunity to join a session or to get a feeling for what it's like? Mumtaz is currently a training facilitator. She's training to be able to be a facilitator and to have groups of her own, which I can't wait. And I can't wait to see what she comes up with for her introduction. Okay. She also is going to develop a script, a whole full GMRT script with the introduction, and she's going to facilitate it. She's going to hold a session where she can then bring people together and have that opportunity to facilitate and interact with the group to see what it feels like, which is pretty exciting. I always am very excited when I have the opportunity to attend other facilitators group meetings. Anybody have questions or ideas or reflections about, or do you understand perhaps why we believe this should be integrated into curriculum as part of all curriculum for schools? I guess I might ask Dr. Behita, I can't remember how to pronounce names, with what she's doing with her teachers, if she can see how she can use this strategy in her school. Is she still here?
Okay, Tracy, thank you for your long discussion. Taklala, would you say something? Please, carry on.
Is my voice clear? Do you hear?
Your voice is so low. Please
well?
raise your voice.
Proceed.
It's very low.
You hear me very well. Okay, I'm going.
Taklala, we can't hear you. Your voice is so low. Please raise your voice.
Okay.
Okay. Rest of the time, 1 minute. If you want, please, we will rejoin.
Well, I don't know, Mumtaz, whether or not they have comments or questions or ideas of how they feel they could be using this type of program within their schools or not. So I know this is going to end soon.
Okay, now, Shagor, do you have any questions to Tracy?
No, I have none. No.
Shondip, sir?
Tracy, ma'am, it was a very good opportunity to hear you and to have you on this platform. It was an excellent explanation how to be innovative in your class and how to excite the students and how to send the spark inside the students so that they can be engaged and develop themselves in learning and use what they have learned in their real lives. And I thank you for clearly explaining these ideas and the method of the script and how to bring all the students into action by giving them one or the other character, by giving them a story and using those characters and coming in their shoes and explaining. And also, I appreciate your idea that we should use not only the students, but also the parents in this story act so that they also understand the importance of this innovative teaching rather than the traditional method of learning. Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
I think okay. I'll just wait. I think Tracy ma'am and others are not there. Just wait 2 minutes. Mumtaz ma'am, thanks a lot for inviting such great personality on the show so that we could. Okay, here she is. I Mumtaz ma'am for calling a great person like you.
Sandeep sir is completely.
I thank Mumtaz ma'am.
Tracy Hanson.
Yeah, but it, your part is more important.
Sandeep sir, please continue your speech.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Call was I disconnected. Very sorry. Yeah. So it's a great pleasure to see you, Tracy ma'am. A great knowledgeable person like you was there with us and where you educated us. You have sent the spark within us, and we assure you that we will send the same spark in our country around our students so that they are excited. I also appreciate Sagarika ma'am's program regarding the lesson plan and all, where she is struggling and she is not caring what the others are doing. That is the best thing. You can't change the world, but you can change the family where you are staying. If you change 10 persons around you also, those 10 can change 100 and that 100 can change 1,000. So it's a very good step from Sagarika's ma'am side and your side also, where you took so much time in clearly explaining us all these ideas. And then once again, I thank Mumtaz ma'am for the same. That's all. It's nice being with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep sir. Nasir sir, would you say something?
Yes. Okay, thank you, Mumtaz Roxana.
Yes, sir.
Today is very excellent session presented by Tracy
Hanson.
Tracy Hanson. She is very nice educator or trainer. I am impressed her presentation. I am very much pleased to participate today's session. I mean today's session is very exceptional. Our today's session trainer, she is very efficiently handle the today's session, and we are very beneficial for her presentation, and there are so many foreign guests, those who join this session, but they are not connected now. I very much thank to Sandeep Maloya and Luliana Traska. Okay, I am very happy to hear from today's guest, Tracy Hanson. She is very nicely present her presentation. Today's session is very excellent. How can we? Today's session is teaching environment in 21st century classroom. We learn more from Tracy Hanson's presentation. I thank her very much and thank Mrs. Roxana Momdal. She always arranges such kind of excellent program. And thank Mr. Sandeep Malaya and other participants, those who are connected till now. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you, Nasir sir. Bibi Fatima, please unmute your microphone. If you say something about our program, please.
Sure, it was quite impressive. When I just joined in, I joined in late actually, but yet I benefited a lot from, especially from Tracy Hanson. Her language skills, super, I must say. It is what as sir told, 21st century skill. It will even make the dumb speak. I feel like that. Okay, her. And I also liked Dr. Sagarika. What's her name was?
Dr. Sagarika. Sagarika. Bhatia.
Yeah, spoke on the lesson plan session. It was wonderful. Actually, I think we should have many more such sessions because that will help us. Making a good lesson plan make a lots of difference, not only to one person, for the entire institution. And that is carried for millions of families. So lesson plan is one of the most important factor in the teaching learning process. So I felt we should invite her once again so that she gives us many things out, so that we can incorporate in our school life, like to teach our children and all. And one more request I had from you that I think we should we can have a participation certificate.
And this is on Fatima. I want to say to you, this is ongoing program. After end of the sessions, I will provide a certificate. Okay.
Sure. Thank you so much. Yes. Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Bibi Fatima. Juliana Terska, if you say something about our program, please continue your speech. Juliana Terska, are you there? Bibi Fatima, I want to know, are you from? Okay. Mentor Mentor Kabhasi sir, are you there? Hello. Mentor Kabhasi sir, are you there? There is many more wants to join your GMRT program. Could you help them?
So I'm just writing in the chat box how you can join and participate. You go to ngge.org. It will say subscribe here. If you've already subscribed, just click out of that. If you haven't, subscribe, because that gives you our newsletter and kind of lets you know what's going on. We try to have different articles or pieces written by various members from around the world. And then go to where it says to sign up to be facilitator. You'll get a welcome letter, and I'll see who wants to become facilitator and send you an outline or a little bit of a guide about what that means and what it's like for training, and the dates that we'll start our next training, we're finishing up right now with a group. And you say, we do not train large groups of people. We try to keep it to a minimum of 4 to 6 at a time. As Memtez will tell you, my co-leader, Georgia, who is in Germany, she and I try to be available to our learners as much as we can. But I am a math science teacher. Oh my. You telling me that you can't figure out how to use this in math and science? You see, you need to get and click out of your specialty and realize that we need to teach our subjects in a holistic way. There's, oh my goodness, you certainly can teach math and science. It's just a different way of doing it, where instead of sitting there and telling them the difference between a liquid, a solid, and a gas, there's a script that allows them to feel what it means to be a solid, all cramped up together and not being able to move. Okay. Or the molecules getting warmer and starting to spread apart and flow as a liquid because they've gotten warmer. And now they're getting so hot that the molecules are getting so far away that they can't touch each other and they're a gas. And it's a script and they act it and feel it. And they can feel those states of matter, not just be told what they are. So I've got to, that's why I say we have to get away from the traditional way of thinking. Open ourselves up to explore and ask questions, find our answers, put them in a script and share them back so others can hear and see what you're coming up with so that they can take it another step farther or in another direction that you may never have thought of. We have to stop stagnating the thinking of our learners and our own way of thinking as well. And that's what's so awesome. And as we create more scripts, it's a library. You can sort of get an idea on the front end, some of the different scripts we have that we've developed, but in the back end, you have access to those to use in your group. And as you develop or your group develops an idea or a script and it goes through the process and gets approved, it's put into this library for all GMRT facilitators to have access and use. We hope that we will build a library of hundreds of thousands of scripts from people to choose from and that it continues growing. We hope that your learners of any age in any of your classes take on that challenge and say, I think I'd like to try writing something. Because in the long run, our ability to communicate with each other is what leads us to the opportunities to collaborate, to make things better, to move forward. And English seems to be the language of choice that people are using to be able to communicate. So this is just sort of an added plus that it's done in English so that you can develop those listening skills that were talked about as being so important. The speaking skills, the reading skills, the critical thinking skills, the being able to share and present your way, your thoughts or your ideas, and know nobody is going to degrade you or say to you, well, that's a silly way of thinking, and that only happens in your country, because we don't think that way here. We think and feel everybody is equal and has equal opportunities. We don't put our women or our children down because we want them, because we know that's not true. And so this allows for these things that in so many cultures are swept under the carpet and not discussed and ignored because it's taboo by the government, it's taboo by parents or family, it's taboo because they never had the opportunity to do it. I think when we talk about how do we get other people to make the changes or to try it, many of the people that I've talked to who have used it do not use it with the tests in mind. We can embed our curriculum that the tests test in this method of learning. And what we find is, because we are not teaching to the test, we are not making kids memorize what's going to be on the test, that they've had the opportunity to better understand and feel, and because they're doing it and experiencing it, that their test scores are higher than those that are being taught to take the tests. We have evidence of that coming in. So I hope, I hope that when I go back to my back end of the GMRT, I'm going to see some people there who have signed up because they want to become a facilitator, and it will motivate me to pick another date in July to start up another training.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
Now we need to finish our program. So something needs to be said before concluding. Okay. Really, I'm very extremely grateful to everyone who is present in my program today for beautifully, especially highlighting what are the learning environment will be like in meeting the challenge of the 21st century. In this meeting, especially for Tracy, GMRT, for our teachers to explain in details. I hope I think that from this program, I have lots of learn our audience and especially myself. Next, this is our ongoing program. After end of the program, at the end of the all episode, this is closing program. I will call Google registration. Those who have who are registered my program, then I will provide this is international round table session certificate. Thanks again for being with me after so long time. So hope to see you my next program, different topics and different guests. So I'm ending here by thanking everyone again, especially Tracy, Shondip Malaya sir, Bibi Fatima, Mentor Kabisi, Nasir sir, Juliana, and everyone. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, and good night, all of you.
See you.
I put the link into the most recent.
Our Friday follow-up sessions.
Okay. Thank you all for spending so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So,
who is your butterfly? Yes.
Are you there? I am.
I'm here, Fatima.
Are you from which country?
I'm from India. I'm from India.
Okay, India. Many more Indians educator joined our international roundtable sessions. Sandip Malwaya is one of them. Dr. Sagarika Bhatia.
He also from India.
Laila Jacob.
Yes.
Raminda Ravir Mek. Many more educators.
Yeah. And we wanted to know, have Dr. Sarika's number.
Okay, Dr. Sagarika is an intimate friend, and in this part. So I hope that you will continue our program in next program.
Yeah,
sure. So
how many post session we have?
Every Tuesday. Every Tuesday.
Achha.
Every Tuesday.
And certificate after end of how many sessions?
Sorry?
5. A certificate after end of how many sessions?
And of the
5 sessions.
We will launch 30 sessions. So after
how many?
30 sessions. After 30 sessions, this is complete 14 sessions.
14 sessions. Okay.
Sessions. Today's 14 session. We will continue 30 sessions. After 30 sessions, we will provide everybody those who have joined our program, and I have called Google Form registration. So and every participant noted me. So I will provide. I have tried provide certificate after end of the sessions. Sandip Malaya sir, thanks to again for
Yeah.
Welcome. Mentor conversation.
So much.
So I have to leave the program.
Yeah.